This is the Louisiana Hometown Network, traveling the state to bring you the important issues and events.
It's imperative to create your own economy. You know, if you think about, if you panic, if you freeze, if you think about being broke, guess what? You're going to be broke. But if you think about, I can maximize on this opportunity, and if you think about rich and being wealthy, and think about your opportunities, then guess what? You'll be successful. There were more millionaires that came out of the Great Depression than ever thought possible. There were more millionaires and billionaires that came out of 2008 recession than ever imagined. So this is the time to not panic. This is the time to get creative. I always tell my clients, don't just think outside the box, throw the box away. And this message about creating your own economy is for everyone. It's not just for business owners, it's for employees who lost their jobs. It's for children. Everyone can go out there and make money. Now we have technology. We didn't have technology in the Great Depression. You can sell things on eBay. You can sell things on Amazon. You can sell things on Etsy. There are so many clever, unique ways that you can turn this around and make money.
What advice do you have for people to get started?
You know, I think, again, it's what we're talking to. You know, I've got a couple, like I have an owner who has a dance business, and she teaches dance, tumbling, ballet, everything. And what she did is she ended up charging everybody a monthly subscription. She ended up doing dancing online, tumbling classes online, and then she ended up having dance parties online. So she's making money, pretty much the same money she was making before, with less overhead, because everything's being recorded, and she's doing live dance instructions, live tumbling instructions online. There was a craft store that specialized in birthday parties. This craft store is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't have birthday parties here. Sure, you can have birthday parties. You just have online. You just have Zoom birthday parties online. You can use Zoom. You can use Skype. You can use any type of online platform to create birthday parties. So she started doing craft birthday parties where everybody would make a craft and then they would share it at the birthday party. So you just have to get creative. You have to think about, okay, what did I do before? What worked? What didn't work? What can I do now? I always tell my business owners, you really got to be focused on your clients, because what your client's problem was in the past is probably not what their problem is today. So you need to become the solutions expert and think of how you can better serve that client.
How can people get more information about this?
They can go, I have tons of case studies, strategies and techniques at exitrichbook.com.
August the 11th, 811 Day. August being the 8th month, 11th day. 811 Day is a big deal to all one-call centers around the United States. 811 Day, so that's something we like to emphasize, the heightened awareness about call before you dig. Louisiana 811, essentially what we are is a call center. We take vital information from an excavator, whether that's a homeowner or a professional excavator like we have here today. We take that information about the scope of the work that they're going to be excavating in. We take that and we send it out to our members. And what our members are utility companies or pipeline companies, and they send professional locators out there, out in the field, and they locate those underground lines so they know exactly where the infrastructure is before you perform that excavation activity. One, you could hurt yourself or even kill yourself if you get into some types of utilities like a gas line or electric line. But also, you don't want to knock out your neighbor's infrastructure as well, or even your own, and that way you don't have any type of utilities. So it can be, and of course it's against the law, so you need to call before you dig, because again, you can be cited for that, but again, you could hurt yourself. Well, what can happen is if you're doing some type of digging, and never assume you know how deep those lines are, by the way, in your yard or out here in a neighborhood like this. But anyway, you don't want to get into like an electric line. You can electrocute yourself, and you never know how deep those lines are. So make sure, never assume you know how deep they are. That's why it's so important to contact us prior to that excavation activity, because you'll see those marks on the ground. You know something is actually right there. If you happen to damage a line and you didn't call first, you're liable for those damages. So you might be subject to a fine from that utility company and have to pay for the repairs, which can be costly. For businesses, it's very important, of course, to call before you dig, because again, I know businesses are dependent on those utilities servicing their business, because certainly you don't want to knock out your phone line, which is a vital line of communication to the outside world, your internet and so forth. So very important, again, that you call before you dig, because your business depends on that. It's vital. Now for a homeowner, sort of the same scenario, maybe not as dependent, but however, it's very important that you call before you dig, because again, you don't want to knock out your telecom services, or knock out your water line, or your electric line, or your gas line. All those, of course, you depend on those, and it's important to know that you do depend on those, and you may not even realize how dependent you are on those facilities, so you certainly don't want to damage those. People oftentimes, they'll see paint or flags on the ground representing different colors, and they might say, what are those? What do they represent? Well, each one of those colors represents a different type of underground utility, and those colors mean the same thing regardless of where you are in the United States. Red is for power, blue is for water, orange is for telecom, yellow is for gas, green is for sewer, and white is for proposed excavation. So if you're planting a tree or something like that, you want to make sure you put white paint on the ground so those utility companies will know exactly where you're going to be excavating. Very important. There is no depth exemption in Louisiana, so it doesn't matter if you're going down 3 inches or 2 feet. It makes no difference. You need to call us, because again, some of those utilities are very shallow on the ground. The penalties, of course, like I said earlier, it can either be you're jeopardizing your life, or you could get hurt. But again, there can be citations. We aren't the enforcement agency, but we do have an enforcement agency as it relates to pipelines. So if there's a pipeline in the area, Department of Natural Resources, Office of Conservation, they can be the ones who actually cite you for that. And again, they don't want to cite anyone. They just want to let you know, yeah, you can be cited. So they have the ability to do that.
What is your final advice to people in Louisiana?
Make sure you call before you dig. It's a simple process. You call us, 811, those simple 3 digits. You call 811, allow time for those marks to get out on the ground, respect the marks, dig with care, and typically nothing will happen. You just go about your day-to-day business. A typical homeowner, you're going out into the yard, you want to plant a tree or something like that. Again, you never know what kind of infrastructure you have under the ground. No one has x-ray vision. Personal story about myself. Years ago, before I was involved in damage prevention, I did the same thing. I was getting ready to plant a tree. I didn't call 811 before that excavation activity. I dug down about 6 inches deep in the ground, and it hit my telecom line. What did that mean for me? Well, of course, I'm out of all my telecom services, my TV, my internet, my phone service, and I had to pay that telecom company to come repair my line. So I learned the hard way, so don't be a knucklehead like myself. Make sure you call before you dig, because again, no one has x-ray vision.
How can people get more information?
All you have to do is go onto our website. It's really easy. If you enter a ticket online, of course, we'll take the call. 811 is a nationwide number. Doesn't matter where you are in the United States, but specifically for us, all you have to do is dial 811 and you're going to reach one of our operators.
Is there a cost involved in this service?
Absolutely not. It is a free service. You might say, who pays for the program? It's the utility companies and pipeline companies. They pay for the program because, again, they want to protect their underground infrastructure.
How can people get more information?
Go to our website, www.louisiana811.com, or feel free to call us at 811, and they'll send the information over to someone on the administrative side so we can provide even more information for you.
Now it's more important than ever to team together to support small business owners. You know, in this COVID crisis, we must stand up and support our local business owners. If you like your hairdresser, your esthetician, your massage therapist, your dry cleaner, buy a gift certificate, give it out for birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, and support them. Hold a watch party. Everyone right now is dying for human connection. Hold a watch party where you can, get your favorite bar involved, your favorite neighborhood pub involved, and get all your friends to hold a watch party, and then, help give them business as well. One of my very good friends bought my husband and I a wine and cheese experience from the world famous Commander's Palace right here in New Orleans, Louisiana. This restaurant was voted #1 in the world several years in a row. Commander's Palace is genius. What do they do? What did they do? They stopped and asked themselves, gosh, what are people really missing right now? What do our clients need more than ever before? Well, they're an experience business, right? They create experiences. They said, well, let's keep creating experiences. If you can't come into the restaurant, then why don't we bring the restaurant to you? Let's do a wine and cheese tasting. So they sell the tickets for anywhere from $100 to $500. And they host a Zoom party every Wednesday night. This last one that I was on, there were a couple hundred people from all around the world, mostly in New Orleans, but there were people from Italy and Paris and New York City. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. It got us all out of the monotony, and it was great to slide through the Zoom show and see everybody that was on there. So you really have to think about, how can I support my community? And if you're a business owner, then you need to align yourself with support. You need to align yourself with a mentor, align yourself with an expert, somebody who's been down that road before, somebody who can shorten the path for you. So I have lots of strategies and techniques and tips that I share at exitrichbook.com.
Why is it important that people support local businesses now?
Because if you don't support local businesses, they're going to go out of business. And when it's time to get your hair done, where are you going to go? When it's time to get your clothes cleaned, where are you going to go? When it's time to go to your favorite restaurant, where are you going to go? What we miss so much is that commonality. What we miss so much is normal. And if you don't support these local businesses, they're not going to be in business.
How important is small business to the economy?
Small business to the economy is huge. There's 32 million businesses in the United States, and they employ over 58 million employees. It's the backbone of our economy. Without small businesses, you don't have jobs.
How can people get more information?
They can go to exitrichbook.com, where I have all my techniques and strategies, and I'm there to support you.
Saturday is the 47th anniversary of the Coushatta tribe of Louisiana's federal re-recognition, which took place in June 27th of 1973. We're looking at a map, an old Spanish map in 1540, when Hernando de Soto came up the Mississippi River, and his party took a northeasterly hook, his expedition, and they encountered a group of over 1,000 or so, approximately 1,000 Coushattas in northern Alabama, right in this area here. So from that point forward, from the point of first European contact, which occurred in 1540 with the Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto, the Coushattas made a series of westerly migration. And I'm proud and pleased to report that the historical record shows that the Coushattas were never forcibly removed from wherever they were at the time. The Coushatta chiefs and leaders at the time had enough foresight and knowledge to know that they had to navigate the North American continent, specifically the southeastern United States, when it was being fought over by European powers, the French, the Spanish, and the English. So again, I'm very proud of the fact that the historical record shows that the Coushattas were never part of forced removal. Our chiefs and leaders over the course of our history since the first contact with Europeans had enough knowledge and foresight to know that, hey, this is the way we're going to protect our people, we're going to make sure we survive, and they moved, and they made a series of movements over the course of Coushatta history, And around the 1840s and 50s is where we ended up at our present day location here in Allen Parish.
In 1930, the federal government came in and provided an extension of the government-to-government relationship between Indian tribes and the federal government, mandated by Congress and supported by treaty rights that we signed with different entities in the United States. And we had that relationship until 1953, when the Eisenhower administration came in and decided to eliminate a lot of the infrastructure of Indian tribes and to what we call the determination era of that time. And so in 1953, the Bureau of Indian Affairs under the Department of Interior decided we would be one of 12 tribes terminated across the country. So that existed for about 20 years, 19 years, 20 years, where the tribe did not have a relationship with the federal government like other tribes in the country. So the termination area affected the people here in ways that brought a lot of poverty, a lot of issues. There was no employment here, no medical care of any kind. For example, no housing. Substandard housing existed after the Interior Department left. So that begins a story of the journey of the people that wanted to restore the relationship of the tribe with the federal government again, and thus began the journey of reaching out to different people and ways to reinstitute the relationship, because it is a responsibility of the federal government to recognize and issue the recognition status of Indian tribes, not only Coushattas, but different tribes around the country. We have 573 tribes under with a relationship with the federal government. So we wanted to restore that. And so that's the significance, because once you get the recognition process, which we were able to finally get restored in 1973 after about 8-year battle to prove to the Congress and the federal government that we were the same Indians living here in Allen Parish as we were when they walked away in 1953. So after restoring that, the importance of the restoration rights of the Coushatta people was that, once again, it offered, even though limited opportunities, it offered a connection between the federal government and the tribe, recognized as a nation within the nation. So that begins the effort of our tribe to begin the restoration again of a tribal government.
Our tribal elders, under the direction of, under the leadership at the time of my father, Ernest, they founded a sovereign nation, refounded a sovereign nation in the wilderness of Allen Parish here in southwest Louisiana.
Like most Indian tribes, we are inundated with, for example, one disease is diabetes. So healthcare was the #1 priority in our tribe. And even though we're a small tribe, at that time less than 200 people, we still had issues. We still had substandard housing we had to address. We still had the need to educate our children. We still had a severe need, a crisis within the health population of the tribe. And then community development was another area that we focused on. We were almost landless. In fact, we were landless. We had to recreate a reservation base before the federal government would take responsibility of what they're supposed to be doing for the tribe. So we started acquiring land to create a land base, which we lost back in 1953. So land acquisition was something that was very important to us, because not only did we want to grow, as you see, property here, to develop enterprises, to develop opportunities for employment, and to also bring a sense of community together once again. So this was the dream of the Coushatta people to hold on to the beliefs and traditions and the culture and the heritage of their people. Even though we're a small tribe, we managed to survive because of what we believed in as a community, as a tribe should be.
The Coushattas today number 966 tribal members. Approximately 40% of that total number are 18 and under, by the way. The Coushattas maintain their headquarters and tribal lands here in Allen Parish, approximately 2 miles north of Elton. The majority of our tribal people live in and around Jeff Davis, Allen Parish area. But our tribal members also live in other areas around Louisiana and also across the nation as well. Approximately right now, as of today, the Coushattas own approximately 7,000 acres across our state. And each year that land base continues to expand. As of today, as we stand here today, the Coushattas have a 5-member tribal government that administers all the policy for education, healthcare, housing, infrastructure, and so forth. The modern day tribal government has a very, very big responsibility. The policies that we draft, debate, adopt, and implement affect not only 966 members of our constituents, but as we stand here today, the Coushattas have a significant impact economically on an entire region here in Southwest Louisiana. Prior to the COVID outbreak here in the world, for example, the Coushattas were in the top 10 largest private employer in the state of Louisiana, and with a total workforce of approximately 3,000 people at one time.
It has always been my interest and intent that we, as a Coushatta tribe, as a Coushatta people, I would like for the world to know that our existence adds to the greater population. Economically, politically, socially, we are a group of people that yet we are different, yet we are a nation. We are still a force that we would like partnerships to join us with. And the future of the Coushatta tribe, as we see it today, here we stand in 2020, we see the most genuine and most critical opportunity for the Coushatta people today. Today we can appreciate the funding of higher education, where we send kids around the world to gain education. And hopefully some will come back and give back to the tribe. And we have probably the best healthcare program to take care of our elderly, to take care of our people. And the community development that we see in developing enterprises that brings added revenue to the tribe besides government funding. We cannot depend on government funding, so we have to be sophisticated enough to generate a revenue base of our own. So that's part of the dream, to expand and to create partnerships and to provide a foundation for the leadership and the young people for tomorrow's vision of the Coushatta people.
As far as the future of the Coushattas here in Louisiana, we will continue focusing on the bedrock for any people or any community. And the bedrock and the foundation for any community and people, in my judgment and in my view, is focusing on those critical areas such as health, housing, education, social programs, and so forth. And also, in addition to that, continuing to focus on the care and well-being of our tribal elders, who we value dearly. People can go to the Coushatta Heritage website and find out more information about our history and the current activities that we're engaged in and our impact to the regional community as well.
Today we're going to talk about unmasking the truth about small businesses and what that really means. You know, there's over 32 million businesses in the United States, and 99% of those businesses are small businesses. Small business owners are the backbone of our economy, and we employ over 58 million employees, over 58 million. And it used to be that 95% of businesses will go out of business in the first 1 to 5 years. That's common knowledge. But guess what? When I wrote my book, Exit Rich, in 2019, I did the research again, and that's changed dramatically. Now it's 30% of businesses will go out of business in that 1 to 5 years, and a whopping 70% of businesses that have been in business 10 years or longer, they will go out of business. That's out of 26 million businesses. So even before the coronavirus, business owners were dropping like flies. You've heard the stories on the big box stores. You've heard about Toys R Us. You've heard about JCPenney's, Kmart, GNC just closed down 900 locations. But guess what you're not hearing about? You're not hearing about every small business owner on every street, in every town, in every state across our great nation. These business owners are losing everything. Many of these are baby boomers who have poured their heart, their soul, their energy, their effort, their money into building their legacy over decades. Unfortunately, many of these business owners will suffer. They'll have to sell their business for pennies on the dollar if they can, because 8 out of 10 businesses do not sell, or they'll have to close their business, or even worse, they'll be forced into filing bankruptcy. And unfortunately, most business owners commingle their business assets and their personal assets. So many of them will lose their family assets too. I know, and this was before the coronavirus. So now with the coronavirus, it's even worse. Every hour a business is closing in the United States. I know it sounds like gloom and doom, but there is something that you can do. There are proven strategies, proven techniques that you can implement right now to improve your business, to turn your business around. The name of the game is pivoting. You got to pivot. You have to look at your financials. You need to see what expenses can you cut, and say, can you negotiate with your employees? Employees want to keep their jobs. Can you negotiate what you're paying your employees? Can you negotiate with your vendors and your landlords? Look at what is not serving you anymore. If there are expenses that don't serve you anymore, cut those out. But the one thing you should never cut is marketing. Find out what benefits you the most and get rid of the rest. So if you got 1 to 3 strategies in marketing, like Google or Facebook or whatever it may be, double down on those strategies and cut the rest. And most importantly, pivot. Find out what's important to your customers. What do they want most? If you love what you're hearing, and I hope you do, go to exitrichbook.com, where I have the 10 things that business owners should do right now.
Do your part to stop the spread of coronavirus.
Remember the 3 S's to staying safe.
Sanitize. Sanitize your hands frequently. Wash your hands with soap and water for 30 seconds or use hand sanitizer.
Secure your mask. Secure your mask properly, making sure your nose and mouth are covered.
Social distance. Practice social distancing. Stay 6 feet away from people and avoid crowded areas.
Help slow the spread of coronavirus.
Remember, sanitize, secure your mask, and social distance.
This has been the Louisiana Hometown Network. If you would like more information, please contact us.